In the Kingdom of Zolani, Prince Adawal had grown under the weight of responsibility. From a young age, he had been groomed to lead, constantly reminded of the strength of his ancestors. Every action, every word he uttered was watched by his father, King Olufemi, who saw in Adawal the future of their kingdom. The people admired their prince, but few knew of the burden he carried. His destiny was set: to rule, to conquer, and to marry a noble woman of standing. But within Adawale, there was a quiet unrest that no one could see. Adewale's heart longed for more than just the duties of a ruler. His soul yearned for something different, something he couldn't define until one fateful day when he wandered into the village during a festival. The air was filled with laughter, the smell of roasted meats, and the vibrant melodies of a singer, her voice unlike anything he had ever heard. He followed the sound to its source, a young woman singing with a passion that made the world around her fade away. Her name, he soon learned, was Amina. Amina was known throughout the village for her voice, a gift that seemed to pull the very essence of life into her songs. She sang of the hills, of freedom, and of a love so pure that it moved the hearts of all who heard her. Her songs were the only escape from the hardships of her impoverished life, but for Amina, they were also a reflection of her hope for a better world. When Prince Adawal approached her that day, she had no idea who he was. To her, he was just another man captivated by her songs. Their conversation was brief, but something in the prince's eyes told Amina that this was no ordinary encounter. Adawal, for the first time, felt alive in her presence. The more he listened to her voice, the more he realized how distant the palace seemed from the life he truly wanted. In her, he saw a freedom that he had never known. As days turned into weeks, Adawal found himself returning to the village, drawn by Amina's songs and her unspoken wisdom. Their conversations grew longer, their connection deeper. Amina spoke of a world beyond the palace walls, a life where people lived without the heavy chains of duty and tradition. Her spirit was free, and it stirred something within Adewale. But he knew the consequences of his actions. His father, King Olufemi, had high expectations for his son. The king had already chosen a bride for Adewale, a noblewoman who would strengthen the kingdom's ties with a powerful neighboring ally. To be with Amina was to defy everything he had been taught, to betray the legacy of his ancestors. Yet, the thought of losing her filled him with dread. Love, for the first time in his life, felt more important than duty. Word of Adawal's frequent visits to the village did not go unnoticed. Rumors began to spread, whispers that reached the ears of the king. King Olufemi was furious when he learned that his son had been consorting with a commoner. To the king, this was not just a lapse in judgment, it was a betrayal. The prince's destiny was to secure the future of the kingdom, not to fall in love with a singer from the village. Adawal was summoned to the throne room, where his father's anger was palpable. "You are a prince, not a peasant," the king thundered. "You are bound by duty to marry the woman chosen for you. This, Amina, she is nothing but a distraction." But Adewale stood his ground, torn between his love for Amina and the overwhelming sense of duty to his kingdom. The king's threats weighed heavily on him, yet his heart would not let him forget the woman who had awakened something profound within him. After the confrontation with his father, Adewale knew he could not keep his relationship with Amina a secret any longer. He went to her, his heart heavy with the knowledge that his love for her could tear his kingdom apart. Amina listened quietly as Adawal told her everything: the expectations of his royal title, the arranged marriage, and his father's wrath. Amina, though saddened, was not surprised. She had always known that their love would be met with obstacles, but hearing it from Adewale made the reality all the more painful. "I will not be the cause of your downfall," she said softly, though her eyes brimmed with tears. But Adewale could not imagine a life without her. He took her hand and promised her that he would find a way for them to be together, no matter the cost. The tension between father and son deepened in the following weeks. King Olufemi, unwilling to see his son stray from the path laid out for him, took drastic measures. He announced the engagement of Prince Adewale to the noblewoman, Princess Zainab, a political match that would secure the kingdom's alliance with a neighboring nation. The announcement sent shockwaves through the kingdom. Adewale, heartbroken and enraged, confronted his father once more. "I cannot marry her," he declared. "My heart belongs to Amina," but the king would not relent. "Your heart belongs to the kingdom," the king replied coldly. "You will marry Zainab, or you will forsake your title." With those words, Adewale realized just how high the stakes had become. Faced with an impossible choice, Adewale made a decision that would change his life forever. He could no longer be the prince his father wanted him to be. Late one night, he went to Amina, his heart heavy but resolute. "We must leave," he told her. "The kingdom will never accept us. If we are to be together, we must forge a new life, far from here." Amina, though frightened by the prospect of leaving everything she had ever known, saw the love and determination in Adewale's eyes. Together, they made plans to flee the kingdom. The hills beyond the city, where the air was crisp and the world felt untouched by royal demands, became their chosen refuge. It was a place where they could start anew, far from the watchful eyes of the king. With the cover of night, Adewale and Amina escaped the kingdom. They traveled through forests and across rivers, leaving behind the life they had known. Every step they took was a step away from tradition, from duty, and from the expectations that had shackled them both. The journey was not easy. The hills were wild and untamed, and they had little more than each other and the hope that their love would sustain them. But in the quiet moments, when the stars shone brightly overhead and the wind whispered through the trees, Adewale felt more free than he had ever felt within the palace walls. This was the life Amina had always sung about, a life of freedom and love, unburdened by the weight of royalty. In the hills, Adewale and Amina began to build a new life. They found a small village nestled between the mountains, where the people were kind and the land was fertile. Here, they were not prince and singer. They were simply two people in love, working together to create something beautiful. Adewale learned to farm the land, while Amina's songs filled the air, bringing joy to their new community. Though the simplicity of their life brought them peace, there was always a shadow of uncertainty. Adewale knew that his father would not let him go so easily. The king would see his departure as an act of treason, and it was only a matter of time before the kingdom came searching for him. Back in Zolani, King Olufemi was livid when he discovered his son had fled the kingdom. To him, Adewale's departure was not just an act of rebellion. It was a threat to the stability of the entire kingdom. Without Adewale's marriage to Zainab, the alliance with the neighboring kingdom was in jeopardy, and without an heir, the future of the royal line was uncertain. The king sent his most trusted soldiers to find Adewale and bring him back, dead or alive. The search parties scoured the kingdom, but Adewale and Amina had vanished into the hills, far beyond the reach of the palace guards. Yet the king was relentless. He would not rest until his son was returned, even if it meant going to war with the neighboring kingdoms. As Adewale and Amina settled into their new life, the fear of discovery lingered over them. Each time strangers passed through the village, they worried that the king's soldiers might be among them. But despite the constant threat, their love flourished. Adewale learned the ways of the villagers, how to farm, how to hunt, and how to live humbly. For the first time in his life, he felt at peace, away from the burdens of royalty. Amina's songs became a staple of village life, bringing hope and light to those around her. The villagers admired her spirit and kindness, and over time, Adewale became known as a hard-working man with no mention of his royal lineage. Still, in the quiet moments, Adewale couldn't help but wonder how long their peace would last. He knew his father wouldn't give up easily. In the palace, King Olufemi's frustration grew. Adewale's disappearance was not only a personal insult, it was a political disaster. The neighboring kingdom, whose alliance depended on Adewale's marriage to Princess Zainab, grew restless. Without the marriage, the peace treaty between the two nations was at risk. King Olufemi, desperate to maintain power, considered the unthinkable. He sent an ultimatum to the neighboring kingdom. If they did not accept his son's marriage or agree to a new arrangement, he would prepare for war. It was a gamble, but there was willing to take it. He would rather risk conflict than let his son's defiance destroy their legacy. While Adewale grew accustomed to his new life, Amina began to have troubling dreams. Night after night, she dreamed of fire, soldiers, and a battle that seemed to tear apart the hills they called home. In the dreams, Adewale stood at the center, torn between two forces, his duty to his kingdom and his love for her. She woke each time, her heart racing, unsure if these dreams were warnings or mere figments of her imagination. Amina confided in Adawal, but he dismissed the dreams as the natural result of their fears. "We're safe here," he assured her, though he too felt the pull of his responsibilities gnawing at him. As much as he wanted to believe in their quiet life in the hills, the weight of his past remained a shadow he couldn't escape. One morning, a stranger arrived in the village, a man dressed as a common traveler but with the bearing of someone far more important. He approached Adewale and Amina under the guise of a simple merchant, but soon revealed himself to be a messenger from the kingdom. He brought news that shook Adewale to his core. King Olufemi had issued an ultimatum, and war was on the horizon unless Adewale returned and fulfilled his duty by marrying Princess Zainab. The messenger left Adewale with a choice: return to the palace, marry the princess and save the kingdom from war, or stay in hiding and risk the lives of countless people. The weight of responsibility returned like a crushing tide, and Adewale found himself torn once again between his love for Amina and his duty to his people. As the threat of war loomed, Amina saw the conflict tearing Adewale apart. She loved him deeply, but she also knew that his heart could never truly be at peace while his kingdom was in peril. Amina made a heartbreaking decision. "You must go back," she told Adewale one night as they sat under the stars. "Your people need you. The war will destroy everything, and I cannot bear to see you live with that burden." Adewale was devastated. The thought of leaving Amina was unbearable, but he also knew that she was right. His duty to his people called him, and as much as he wanted to stay by Amina's side, he couldn't ignore the looming conflict. Amina promised him that no matter what happened, their love would remain. "I will wait for you," she whispered, though her heart broke at the thought of being apart. Adewale returned to the palace, his heart heavy with sorrow but resolute in his decision. The kingdom was in chaos. Preparations for war had already begun, and tensions with the neighboring kingdom were at an all-time high. When he arrived, the court was shocked. King Olufemi greeted him with cold satisfaction, though there was a flicker of relief in his eyes. "You have returned to do your duty," the king said. "But know this, if you defy me again, there will be no forgiveness." Adewale, with the weight of his choice pressing on him, agreed to marry Princess Zainab, but only on the condition that the war preparations be stopped. The king, eager to secure the alliance, accepted. The day of the wedding was a somber affair for Adewale. Though the kingdom celebrated, Adewale's heart was not in it. Princess Zainab too seemed aware that this marriage was nothing more than a political arrangement. She had heard of Amina and knew that her husband's heart belonged elsewhere. Despite this, Zainab remained graceful, playing her part for the good of the kingdom. The ceremony was grand, filled with feasting and festivities, but for Adewale, it felt like a prison. He thought of Amina constantly, wondering if he had made the right choice. Though he had fulfilled his duty, his heart remained in the hills with the woman he truly loved. Shortly after the wedding, tragedy struck the kingdom. King Olufemi, already weakened by the stress of the past months, fell gravely ill. His death came swiftly, leaving the kingdom in mourning, and Adawal thrust into the role of king. As the new ruler, Adawal now had the power to change the course of his own destiny, but he was bound by his recent marriage and the political alliances it had secured. Though the kingdom was now at peace, Adawal found no joy in his new title. The weight of the crown felt heavier than ever, and he began to question whether the sacrifices he had made were worth the cost. Meanwhile, in the hills, Amina continued to sing, though her heart ached with the absence of Adawal. Her songs became filled with longing, and the villagers began to speak of her voice as one that could reach across the mountains, carrying messages of love and loss. One night, as she sang under the stars, a messenger arrived from the kingdom, a man sent by the new king. The message was simple. Adawali, now king, had not forgotten her. He could not return to her in the way he had hoped, but he wanted her to know that his heart would always be with her. Amina wept upon hearing the words, knowing that though they could not be together in body, their souls were forever entwined. Years passed, and Adawale ruled Zolani with wisdom and compassion, shaped by the love he had once known and the sacrifices he had made. Though he remained bound to Princess Zainab, theirs was a respectful relationship, built on mutual understanding rather than love. The kingdom thrived under his rule, and the threat of war faded into distant memory. Yet, in the quiet moments, when the palace was still and the weight of the crown pressed down on him, Adawal would think of Amina and the life they had dreamed of together. He never returned to the hills, but her songs echoed in his heart, guiding him as he led his people. In the end, Adawal's legacy was not just that of a king, but of a man who had loved deeply even when it had cost him everything. This story teaches us about love, patience. True love requires sacrifice. Adawal and Amina's love is tested by the demands of duty and tradition. The story shows that sometimes true love demands difficult choices and great sacrifices. Don't forget to drop a comment about this story and do well to subscribe to the channel to encourage me to write more stories. Thanks for watching. See you in my next story. Bye.